What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Just letting you know with this little bit at the start that we now have a Patreon. Sub up to that and you can get all these episodes early and ad-free, so you won't even see this bit at the start. You get them a few days before the main episodes drop out. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got some studio episodes. We've got some Zoom episodes with some fantastic rappers talking about the films they love and the films that influenced them. We got a lot going on there. Plus, you get some bonus content like film reviews, all that kind of thing. I don't need to explain this to you. You know what a Patreon is. But yeah, it's patreon.com/Kinell Sinister Cinema. So check that out. Peace. Yes, people. What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Kinell Sinister Cinema is brought to you by Forgotten Sons Apparel. Check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Forgotten Sons Apparel is a York-based streetwear brand drawing inspiration from alternative culture, tattoos, film, classic TV and cartoons from our childhood. In our own words, if you like our stuff half as much as we do, then we like it twice as much as you. I'm a big fan of this brand and I love the guys who make it. They've supported me for years, way before I was podcasting. They supported me in my battle rap career. You might have seen me rocking some of their garms on Don't Flop and other leagues. I love Forgotten Sons Apparel and I'm urging you all to check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Right, now on with the show. Hey, what's good? You know what it is. It is the KSC once again, Kinell Sinister Cinema, and I am Mr. Always Had a Buzz with every rhyme I wrote, and everybody want to know me like the Wi-Fi code. Kinell himself. You know who I am because you've subscribed to this or clicked on this or whatever. You get the drift anyway. I'm going to kick off with a couple little announcements. First off, head over to the Don't Flop YouTube if you haven't already to check out our new show, Adventure Rhyme. First show, we was getting tattoos whilst doing rap battles. That's a crazy one. We've secured an amazing setup for episode 2, so stay tuned for that. Also, going to be getting into a little bit of streaming. Twitch.tv/Kinell, and we're going to be kicking that off at 4 o'clock on Friday the 27th when the new Dead Space drops. I'm going to be playing a bit of that, and there's going to be all kinds of disasters while I try and figure out how the equipment works. And finally, UKBR Daily has been rebranded. Hulk's channel has been rebranded as Battle Rap Daily. Yes, Battle Rap Daily. And you will be able to see, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, all the battles coming out from the King of the Smokers event the other week. Lots of weed-themed battles for all you smokers out there. It's not called King of the Smokers for no reason. Of course, I was in the drinking battle. And I became the shot battle champion of the world. No one can test me. Step up and try. The hangover has been gone long enough. I'm ready to go again, and I'll smoke anyone. It is that simple. However, I might be a horrible drunk, but some people who aren't are 2/3 of Drunken Horror.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, it is fantastic to have you on the podcast. I'm going to let you introduce yourselves individually in a second. But first of all, I want to say, if you are not already subbed up on your favorite audio podcast platform channel to Drunken Horror, strongly get on it. It marries two of my favorite things. And it's got two of my favorite things that I look for in a podcast. I always like to get, they cover a lot of the films I love. Always like to get different perspectives on them. If I need a straight white guy's opinion, I'll watch the film. So I always like to get a bit of extra perspective when I'm listening to podcasts and that. But also, it's excellent vibes. We love a vibe on the KSC. We try and provide one. And Drunken Horror Podcast also does that. So that being said, over to you.
Amazing. That was beautiful. Thank you. Well, I'm Alice. I kind of brought together Drunken Horror. I got Rebecca to come along, and then Luna, who is also does it with us. He can't be here tonight. She also does it with us, and yeah, we just basically get pissed and chat about a horror movie. And we want the kind of vibes when you're at the pub, and you're chatting about films, and you're just having an excellent time, and that's the kind of vibes that we want to have.
Excellent scenes. And over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca. As Alice said, she kind of invited Lena and me along. I have a massive glass of wine today because I can't record without being drunk now, apparently. And yeah, the podcast is just really fun. Basically, we just try and have as much fun as possible while talking about our favorite films.
Yes, that is what I like. I'm a big fan of that podcast. Never miss an episode. I got my alerts on, and like usually I'm working from home, so as soon as it drops, I've got it playing. The second it's on, I recommend you all do likewise. And today we're having another franchise discussion. If anyone wants to check out our Evil Dead discussion with Connor from Unleashed Ghouls, that was last week and that was fantastic. So check that out. But today we're going to be talking about the Chucky franchise, also known as the Child's Play franchise. And my feeling is that out of all the slasher villains, I'd say that Chucky is the David Bowie of slasher villains.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's just like, he's my second favorite of the slasher killers. Like, I think that Freddy is up there. Freddy will always have my heart, but Chucky is closely followed by, I think. And all the films are just so good. They're so solid. Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about these movies.
Yeah, that's kind of like why I like compare him to like the David Bowie of these things, because like there's all these great films and the TV series too, and they all exist in these wildly different eras with like such a wildly different tone, but there's this singular voice running through it. Like, you know, when you talk to someone who's like a massive fan of Bowie, they don't talk about the favorite song or album. They talk about like their favorite era, and you could ask 5 different Bowie fans and get 5 different answers. I think you can get that with Chucky and Child's Play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely. I've never made that connection before, but I'm definitely going to stick to that now. Keep saying, Chucky is Bowie.
And they're also consistently good, but all in different ways. Like some are just really camp and fun. I think that's what I like about this franchise the most, is just really camp the whole way through.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like it's the only franchise really that properly sticks to the timeline, and they all link together somehow, even like going to the new TV series as well. Like and it's just so good. Like the fan service is just incredible with this franchise. It's just, it's amazing.
Yeah, like you say, fan service, but it is that consistency, and they do play like fast and loose with the rules about like, you know, the voodoo and all that kind of thing. But it's like it's not like fan service like cheap references. It's part of the plot, isn't it? Like it's
definitely. Yeah. It's not like a little nod or a little wink like here and there. It's like they've just managed to link them all up nicely without it feeling like a stretch as well, and just be like, oh, you feel like you forced that in here. They haven't done that at all. They've just like, it's been really thought out. It's been so well done. And I think like I wouldn't say I grew up watching them, but I watched them at like quite a young age, I think, especially like the first one. But I think like Rebecca, you'd only like watched the franchise quite recently, right?
Yeah, so it's one of those films I've always been meaning to watch, just in general. And I didn't actually watch it till we covered it on the podcast, which I'm really, really ashamed of myself for.
That's great though. Like so you've got to experience it all at once.
Yeah, it's so good. I just like binge watched the whole franchise in one go for the podcast. And I love stuff like this because I feel like you get to a certain age where you're like, I've watched so much good shit, like what's still out there, and it's nice to like save yourself little like treats so that you don't end up having watched all the good shit.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd like, there's so many stuff like that I haven't seen, like franchises I'm still like holding on to when I'm in the mood for it. Like those classic franchises, I'll get onto it. But I'm glad that you got to experience it.
That's great. Like I experienced them like probably like close to Alice, like because it's been like a franchise that I've literally grown up with, like, and like I'm the same kind of age as like Andy, so so like flipping it's sort of like been like a little through line in my life, like I think the first one, like you know, I saw a few, you know, it was obviously had been out a few years by then.
Yeah.
But like when I saw it, like, you know, what should we call it? I was a kid from a working class background, grew up with a single mum who didn't necessarily always have the money to get me the latest flipping toys and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what should we call it? You know, she worked really hard. And like, so I was like just that bit older when I saw the first one that you know, I could relate to being that kid, and I could also like see like what my mum was doing. So there was something like that I could really connect with there. And then like what should we call it? Child's Play and the Chucky franchise would keep popping up with a different film at these different points in my life. And
That's really
right
sweet.
now, where like flipping, I am like probably what Andy is like now, like the bitter old weirdo who lives on his own with a dark past.
Did you also have a killer doll that used to come out after you as well, like through different points of your life?
I can't say he's listening.
We're gonna have some kind of like host style like death by a Chucky, right? During this recording.
I'd be very disappointed if not.
Yeah.
So like I'm really fascinated with Rebecca's experience now. Like, so like what kind of time period? Like, was it in like a month or a week? Did you like see all these?
So I'm very last minute with everything I do. So I think I watched this in like a week, like probably like a couple a night maybe before the podcast. And yeah, like this is what says good things about the franchise, is that I didn't get bored. Like I feel like maybe with Halloween, I love Halloween, but I feel like if I just like binge watched all of them, I'll probably get bored. Whereas these films are so different that I didn't get bored, especially as soon as like Tiffany comes in. It gets so fun. I think it's impossible to.
Yeah, definitely. Like that, I think I was just like waiting for you to watch like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, because I was like, they are like, I mean, Seed of Chucky, it has its moments, it's definitely of the noughties era, but like it's still so much fun. And like I think Bride of Chucky is probably my favorite out of all of them. I think like it's just so much fun. And just like Jennifer Tilly is just an icon. Like she is just incredible.
She really is like flipping I think the only other like actor that's like flipping as willing to like flipping like lean into something that much is probably Danny DeVito, like who's like flipping.
Yeah. Definitely. Like, yeah, I remember.
It feels like a harsh comparison, because I don't want to say she's a female Danny DeVito, but I don't know. Maybe Danny DeVito's what should we call it? A male Jennifer Tilly. I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I love Danny DeVito, and I can kind of see that with like when like Danny DeVito went on to Always Sunny and just became this like awful person. Like I was just like, what the fuck? This is Danny DeVito. Like,
and he's always naked. Like
yeah.
Like Jennifer Tilly, like flipping, like it's a similar kind of thing from like, you know, I mean, obviously we've got what's called Tiffany and Bride of Chucky, but when you get to Seed of Chucky, you've got Jennifer Tilly playing Jennifer Tilly as like this awful person, like.
Yeah, she just looks like she's having so much fun with it as well. Like, and that obviously that continues with the TV series as well, with her playing herself. And yeah, it was just such a good idea. Like, I can imagine she was just having the absolute best time with it, because why wouldn't you? You can just play this like massive caricature of yourself. Yeah, it just must have been great fun.
I mean, this is it. Like the way they've kept it going through the TV series, and implied for the last 15 years. Like, well, not implied. It's part of the plot that flipping, like, you know, this what should we call it? Former serial killer turned doll, but still serial killer, has been living the life of Jennifer Tilly. Like,
like
you know, an actress and professional poker player. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so good. Have you watched the series yet, Rebecca?
No, I haven't actually watched the series yet.
Okay.
I've heard good things. Everyone seems to rave about it.
It is really good. Like, I haven't watched the second season yet. It's still on my a never-ending to-do list that you seem to get. But it is really good. It is so well done. Yeah, definitely really good.
I got like 2 episodes into the the new series, and I'm swerving piracy these days because I like, my feeling is like, if something's available, I should be paying for it if I'm going to be like flipping, like trying to get views off talking about it and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I had to subscribe to Now TV in the UK, like, which, oh, that hurt, like flipping, like,
yeah.
my God, everything else on it sucks. We've got all these amazing streaming services now, and I'm subscribed to far too many of them.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. My outgoings every month just for streaming services is just ridiculous now, and and I can't let go of any of them because I'm like, no, I need this one for this TV show, and I need that one for this, like, these set of movies or whatever. Like, so yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, but hey, that's what
you can't
we need to
cut
do.
either of them because they're all like a flipping like £5 or £7 or whatever. Like,
yeah.
And like so, it feels like, well, I'm losing a lot for not paying that £7 a month or whatever. Like, £7 doesn't feel a lot. It's just that it's like £7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, it's not a lot just by itself, but then like actually I've got every other streaming service is available, so like it all fucking adds up. But yeah. But at least with Now TV you can watch the Last of Us TV series, so you've got that as well.
I'm gonna get into that. Like I was trying to avoid the hype because it was like it's a lot of people who like I was seeing a lot of hype from the sort of people who like just watch the big series and like don't really follow horror like that. So I thought, I can take or leave it. I'll wait till it finishes. But I got the subscription now, so I'm in. I'm paying for it. I'm watching it.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about Chucky himself. Like I've said before on here, like Brad Dourif is my favorite actor of all time. It's like you take away his iconic Chucky role, you've still got a guy who's like out here in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and flipping. He's incredible performance in Exorcist 3. They edited a lot of his stuff out when he was switching between the voices, and it was amazing. And so they basically did an episode of the X-Files just for him to flex that skill. And M. Night Shyamalan saw it and basically got James McAvoy to rip it off for Split. But nonetheless, but Brad Dourif, like I think he's like such an important part of creating like the character Chucky, because he's so damn likable.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Chucky is, out of all of like the slasher killers, he is the one that you love to hate as well, and you hate that you love him. Like, he is funny. If Luna was here, Luna would be like, he's sexy as well, because in our Chucky episode, Luna was like a kind of fancy Chucky. I'm sure she won't mind me bringing it up again. But
no, if Luna's not here, someone's got to be horny about the film. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something about his voice, apparently. But like, he's just a fantastic character. And who knew that like you could make a doll scary? Like, I think the first time I watched it, it scared me a little bit. Like, it freaked me out. And obviously now he's become, as the movies have gone on, he's just gotten really silly, but still keeping with how he was in the first one, but he's not as scary then now. But I love Chucky. He's great. Like, he's such a well done character.
There's versatility to him, because like even in like the scariest like Child's Play Chucky movies, he's still a funny guy. And in the funniest ones, he can still bring a bit of menace.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, and some of his kills that he does are just like terrified as well. Like, he's up there again with like some of the more inventive killers of the the slasher franchise killers. He's like, again, to compare him with Freddy, like him and Freddy have the most inventive kills, I think. Like, it's not just walking around with a knife stabbing. There will be some clever way to do a really horrific death. and it
Freddy
make it
kind
seem
of
like by
cheated a bit,
chance as
innit?
well. Like, yeah, yeah. Like, I think one of my favorite deaths, and this is a slight spoiler for the TV show, Rebecca. I'm sorry, but
That's fine. We could do it.
In the first series, when there's the dishwasher is open and there's all the knives, the sharp knives pointing out, and he just like tips over. I can't remember who it is, but he just like pushes over this woman and she just falls onto the sharp knives.
The house cleaner, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I'm like now like fucking terrified of like leaving my knives like that in my dishwasher because I'm like, like no way.
I was gonna say new fear on looks. Like I'm the clumsiest, and I'm not gonna be able to do anymore.
Always turn your knives the other way around. Handle up, always. Like,
yeah.
You know, that was kind of a pre-existing phobia of mine because I'm a clumsy guy. Like, one lady I used to live with, like, she always used to be a knives up in the dish kind of thing. It's like, I can't trust myself not to fall over.
yeah.
There's already that kind of element there to it in like from my angle, and yeah, that again, you say new fear unlocked, I say existing fear exploited.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think like that's what made lots of his kills really good is that like you made them all look like accidents, right? Like so it's kind of similar to like Final Destination of those kind of kills where it's just like they've all just kind of like happened by a series of events, but like it's just Chucky making those series of events happens to make it like look like an accident.
Yeah, or framing people so they end up in like mental institutes, which like most of the main characters in the films do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's it with like the first movie with like the poor kid being sent to a mental institution. I was like, I always forget about that bit, like whenever I watch the film, and I'm like, fuck, it's so horrific, that bit. Like
yeah. And then his mum does at the end, doesn't she? And then like going into the second one. And then in Curse of Chucky, the lady in the wheelchair also ends up in a mental institution at the end. He's just gaslighting everyone. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the best thing about that's the best thing about Chucky is he doesn't gaslight anyone. He doesn't like it's not him convincing people that people are insane. He just does what he does, and then people say what they saw, and then other people assume that they're insane. Like,
that's so true.
Gaslight. Like,
there's a few things like that. That's why I reckon like Chucky's the easiest guy to cheer for out of all these. It's not him doing the gaslighting; he's just doing the mischief. You know, it's flipping other people not being open-minded enough to what's actually happening that's causing the misunderstandings. And like, also like he's totally indiscriminate. Like, you know, he's not picking on like flipping like teenagers that are having sex or anything. He's killing anyone. Like, you know, and like, you know, you get the impression that back in the day, it wasn't like him and Tiffany were like kind of like a Mickey and Mallory. You know, they're like thrill killers. Like, you know, you know, they just, and like most of the people they kill are grown adults, and some of them are pricks.
Yeah,
it's true. A lot of them are pricks.
Yeah. Lots of people do deserve it. To be fair,
he is just killing for vibes. And like, there's no kind of sexual element to his killing. He'll kill any motherfucker. And like, you know, that's the other thing. Because like, if you look at your Michael Myers and your Jasons, like, you know, they've got some kind of fucked up childhood psychosexual thing that's fucked them up. And now they're picking on all these teenagers that just don't need a hassle and all this kind of thing. And Freddy, like in the official canon, he's a child killer. But you know, if a grown man's killing children, it's not because they gave him bad advice on the stock market.
Yeah.
Some of the kids from the neighborhood told the caretaker, Fred Krueger, to go all in on Dogecoin at 96 cents. No, it wasn't like that, was it? We know what's popping in it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But with Chucky, it's like, you know, most of the people he's killing are grown adults, and some of them are grown adults that are doing very bad things. Because of that, like, you know, you don't see that kind of element of victimization. So even though what he's doing is very mean, you don't think that he's like a person who's attacking any one group, or like he's not punching down, as it were. But
yeah.
Mm.
He doesn't, and he
just
doesn't
anyone.
follow
If you're
the
in the way, Chucky, if you're in the way of what he is trying to achieve, he's going to deal with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't follow those like stereotypical slasher movie tropes of like, yeah, like you were saying, if you have sex, if you do drugs, then you're gonna die. Like it's just like anyone will die. Like pretty much, you've got no chance if you're in Chucky's world, basically.
Yeah, you can be an overbearing teacher. What should we call it? Who's, to be honest, shouldn't be a teacher in the first place. You can be a
Yeah.
cop who's like, you can be a dirty cop. You can literally be Britney Spears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so good. Yeah. What did you think of the remake for it?
The remake, I think it shouldn't have been a child's play film.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I think what should we call it? There's some good stuff in it, and they made enough to change it. But after you put so many interesting original ideas in there, really you just need to like sever it from the IP, and like by just keeping Chucky in there, because like the lad's like 13-year-old in it, like flipping, he ain't having a flipping like equivalent of a talking Cabbage Patch doll, like
Yeah.
in real life. So, just separate all together and make it some kind of robot or something. Call it Chopping Mall 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
And, like,
exactly. Yeah.
I think like they ruined that film by continuing to make it a child's play film.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like it was, yeah. But yeah, it was like, it was very weird. Like, and I haven't seen it for a long time. I think I saw it once and I was like, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the same kind of like vibes as the original Chucky had. It wasn't as like shitty and like little piece of shit that you just want to like kick around but also give a little hug. Like it just like it was just very weird. It felt, yeah, I think Megan has done a lot better job personally. But
this is it. But then you just make those
yeah.
couple of changes and you get Megan and you get a box office hit, and
Exactly,
that's universally beloved.
Yeah.
Flipping like
Yeah,
it drags it down by a minute. Because obviously, like we had the Chucky TV series in production at this point. It felt like what should we call it? It felt like a studio decision rather than any kind of artistic decision. It was like the studio made the decision, and like everything else came after.
Yeah.
And like like another example of this, in like the way the series is like a lot more genuine in that, like is like I'd compare it to, if we compare like Seed of Chucky, which is like the first time I'd heard of the concept of non-binary, like way before it was in the media. And then you compare it to something, and like, it's from a very genuine place. We could talk about Don Mancini, he's obviously a gay man. He's familiar with the queer culture and all this. And like, while he's not outright, what should we call it, explicitly stating things, like up until more recently, we could tell more personal stories. He's putting stuff in there. It's coming from an honest place. And then you look at a film like They/Them, and like I just imagine Jason Blum just coming up off a massive line of coke and shouting at his secretary, like these non-binary people are doing a lot in the news. Someone make me a non-binary flipping title film.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was kind of my thoughts with They/Them as well. It just it felt like it was very, let's be really woke and let's make a like slasher movie about surrounding that. Yeah, it was very strange. But yeah, like he was like pretty ahead of its time for the early noughties, like to introduce that, to play around with the idea of like non-binary folk, like and then and still it carries on with in the TV series as well, and it's handled a bit better in the TV series as well, but that's because it's like 20 years time and we've learned a lot more on how to handle it and how to talk about it. But like, yeah, it was like it was I mean, I haven't seen Seed of Chucky for a long time, so I can't remember how much of it's been like played up as a joke that, you know, their kid doesn't know if it wants to represent itself as like male or female, and is playing around with those ideas. If that's like, this is a joke because haha, imagine someone who presents as male but is wearing a dress. Haha, isn't that funny? Which is like a lot of what the comedy was like in the noughties, you know. You'd like either any idea of queerness would always be like the butt of the joke in the noughties. But it's still like when you look back at it and you're like, you know, these things could have been changed, but still it's like it's pretty well done. Like I think.
Yeah, like at that, I feel like at that point nobody was really talking about things like that without it, as you're saying, just being like for comedic purposes and like yeah.
Like I say, like this was a concept that, like, you know, unless you were like part of the queer community at that time in like 2005, you wouldn't know about these things. And like he's talking it from a very real place, and there is humor in it, but in the same way that like Jennifer Tilly is like playing herself, like trying to shag Redman to you know, so it's from that genuine place, like, and you know, I could always respect that a lot more, like.
Yeah, definitely. That's also some of my favorite bits about like noughties horror movies. Speaking of like Redman, is that like all of those, like especially slasher movies of that genre, they always had to have some kind of rapper in there at some point. Like, and it's just like it's one of the little bits that I love about like naughty slasher movies is that there's always just like some random either rapper or random celebrity that is just in it, just like Paris Hilton in House of Wax, and so I was like, we'll just get them in because why not? We can, like it will draw in a crowd one way or the other. So
All right, so what's it called? Let's talk favorites. As we've established up top, it's very hard to pick an exact favorite because you're comparing different eras and what's going on. So, you know, you could probably have like 3 different favorite Chucky movies, but you know, off the top of your head right now, in the mood that you are currently in, with the drink in your hand, what would you say is your current at this literal second? And you are not bound to it. You can change your mind in a matter of seconds. Right at this second, what is your favorite Chucky movie?
No argument. Bride of Chucky, 100%.
Be really boring as well and say exactly the same as well. Like I think that if I want to watch a Child's Play movie, that would be my first go-to one. Like I you know, like we've said, I enjoy all the others, but Bride of Chucky was where it kind of changed to a bit more of like a horror comedy. And you know, and obviously you've got Jennifer Tilly as well, who is just gorgeous and an icon. So why wouldn't you not want her in your life as well? But yeah, I think it's because that's when it turned into more of like the silly kind of horror, which is a little bit more my vibe, more so than kind of any other like arty horror or whatever. I like just like a dumb horror. Just like give me that all day, every day, and I'm happy. And yeah, it will always be Bride of Chucky, I think.
Yeah, and it's just so camp. Like the camp. I think it's probably one of the campest films I've ever watched.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do just want to be the Bride of Chucky. Like I want to be Tiffany. Like I want to be spending my whole life.
She's got it all right down to the aesthetic. Even the fact that she's like living in a caravan or a trailer, as it's known over there. Like a trailer looks so cool. It looks like a great place to hang out. Like
yeah, definitely.
You know, if I lived near that trailer park, I would be going around and asking if she needed any jobs doing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I mean, obviously. But,
yeah, of course. What would you?
Well, I mean, just for vibes, like, you know, it's obviously the coolest place to hang out. Like,
yeah, definitely, 100%. I think I quite enjoyed Cult of Chucky as well. Like, I think, that's the one where it all just. I think there was quite a few more little like nods to the other movies as well. It kind of went a little bit full on with that, and I think I quite enjoyed that. I haven't seen that one in a long time as well, but yeah, I remember enjoying that one.
That one's well worth a rebump, because obviously we got Fiona Dorif, Brad Dorif's daughter.
Yeah.
She's in Curse of Chucky, but in Cult of Chucky she really comes into her own.
Yeah,
because like she's playing Chucky at some point, and like the way she's like nailing the laugh, and how her dad acts as Chucky, it's something beautiful, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so well done.
Yeah, I mean, it really blew me away. Like I was like streaming the when the new series came out, when the first season came out. I was like, watching every episode as soon as it dropped, and I could not figure out what was going on with the flashback sequences.
Yeah,
because I was trying. I thought they'd digitally de-aged Brad Dourif, and he looked exactly like he did in the first one. The way he moved and everything. Like I thought, like, how's he this old? And like even with all the digital technology, I can't really see the joins, and digital de-aging isn't that good at that point.
Yeah,
like flipping, how is it so good that he's portraying himself, or have they just got an amazing actor? And it's Fiona Dorif.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, yeah, she is just such a good actress, and I really hope that she ends up doing more things. Like, I don't know if she has been. I don't recognize her spinning anything else apart from the like Chucky movies and the TV series. But like, yeah, she is fantastic, and how she's able to do all those mannerisms, like you were saying about her, like that's just the same as her dad. It's just so good. Like it's incredible. It's what makes the series as well, I think, is her. Like she's done a really great job with it.
How weird must it be to play your dad? Like your dad's character. He's like infamous.
Yeah, exactly. You've got,
I don't think I'd like it.
You've got like double the pressure, right? Like you've got to be this character that everyone knows and loves, and people will be judging you like to like a pinpoint, basically. But then also you've got to like impress your dad as well. I guess it depends what kind of relationship you have with your dad. But like if you have a close relationship, I would presume that you'd be like, I need to do this with my dad as well, and I need to impress him as well as these millions and millions of fans out there. So yeah, double the pressure, definitely.
So, see, they've clearly worked together a lot. Like when I see like flipping, like when I see something executed perfectly, like whatever it is, it's like I know that whatever work has needed to take place as like flipping, it has taken place, and like so I've just got this like the way she can nail the laugh perfectly. That I can't.
Yeah.
I can't hit those high pitched laughs.
No, that was like Michael Jackson.
The way you just absolutely like that they've been like working together really closely, the father and daughter, like they're like, this is how you do it, like and like she's just being schooled on and coached on and spurred on by like the greatest actor of all time that's also her dad, and and like now she's just fucking amazing. Like it's the complete opposite of like what people talk about when they talk about the whole Nepo baby thing. Like, that she hasn't got that job because of who she is. She's got that job because she can fucking do it better than anyone in the world. And like she's had the help and coaching to get there. And like, it's that, like, it's not flipping like David Beckham's son wants to be a photographer, innit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my god, that prick. Yeah, totally. And it's kind of the same with like Ethan Hawke's daughter as well. Like I think that like she is also a phenomenal actress as well. And so, yeah, some people just really hit it. Some people can just be, they're just actually really good at their job. They just happen to be part of like a famous family or have a famous dad or mum. Yeah, she is just so good. And I can't imagine anyone else by playing her characters in the Child's Play like series at all. Yeah, it is just so well done. Like, Definitely watch the TV series Rebecca, because you can like properly see her like in
I
all
was
her
gonna
glory.
say you're both so selling this to me. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. I was really surprised about it, because I went in and I was thinking like, this is going to be really dumb, and it's probably not going to do any service to the TV series, to the movie, sorry, and it's just going to be like they're just doing it for a bit of buck. But I was so impressed with it. Like, it is good, and it's generally like a good storyline and well acted, like amongst everyone, really. Yeah, it's well worth it.
And like it is like there's always been that thing, because it's always been like Don Mancini's like baby. He's like written every script, and like what's we call it? He like developed the skills as director and came in and directed it and all this. So he's always had and like he must be the greatest dude to work with, because like no one's left the series, have they?
No.
You know,
True.
Yeah, they haven't had to get any replacements or anything. They just must be so much fun to make. Like, yeah, I can imagine that like you just have a great time on set just with all of these movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can tell the cast are having like a load of fun as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is probably what makes their performances so good and fun.
Yeah,
especially with
definitely.
Jennifer Tilly, she is having like the best time.
Yeah, 100%.
This is the thing. I like that they refer to her as the what should we call it? That they refer to her as an actor and poker player, Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, definitely.
because like, you know, even if you like put all the acting roles aside, like, you know, she is like a very talented poker player. She's in like all these like huge tournaments in Vegas and all this kind of thing, like off smoking everyone, quite frankly. So there is a lot of people that have a connection to the real Jennifer Tilly, because we've seen Jennifer Tilly as Jennifer Tilly playing poker, and so we've got that implied thing that like we've been watching Tiffany this whole time. And like I've got a couple of mates that are like, you know, involved in poker at that level. You know, shout out the legend Thesaurus, like, and what you call it, shout out the Slay Dog as always. You know, but you know, Saurus lives in Vegas and all that, and they're all in these tournaments, like, and it's like, so it's like enough of a connection that like what should we call it, Tiffany has been pretending to be Jennifer Tilly whilst playing in poker tournaments with people I know.
Yeah.
There's those couple of steps of separation that like just that little bit of anchoring it to reality, like.
Yeah, definitely. I love that for her. I love that she's a poker player as well. Like, why not?
She does have a good poker face.
Yeah, definitely.
She's an absolute like she will crush people and take their money.
Yeah. I need to like
that's like who she is, like.
Yeah.
And she'll smile and look good doing it while she's in her 60s.
No, really?
Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah, I need to go on like YouTube and find some videos of her like playing poker or something, if that exists, because that just sounds like it would be great to watch. Like,
this is it, like, you know, she's very much someone who's connected in real life, and like, which is why it's just all the more entertaining to see her like willing to like put that much of herself out there and send herself up the way she does, like just a line in Seed of Chucky. I think it's like a single line might have made me laugh in a film ever, when the Tiffany dolls on the phone goes, oh yeah, Bounds on the TV, I'm getting fingered by Gina Gershon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good.
That absolutely destroyed me, like flipping. It's rare you see someone who's like, you know, that glamorous and also that willing to take the piss out of themselves, like.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why people love her. Do you know what? I would love to see like Jennifer Tilly and oh, what's her name? One from White Lotus. Her name has just completely gone out of my head.
Aubrey Plaza. Oh,
No.
Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer Coolidge, of course.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Coolidge. Yeah, like they need to do some kind of like combo together in like the next Chucky movie or the next like Chucky series, because that would just be great, because they're both like, I put them both on the same kind of pedestal. Like they just both have fun with whatever character that they're playing, and end up being a little bit of like caricatures of themselves. And I think that would be like so much fun to see. I'm gonna make that happen now.
They strike me as like they'd be excellent vibes to hang out. Like they could do a little podcast together. Like, if you're familiar with Talk Scary to Me.
Oh no, I'm not.
No.
It's what you call it? Danielle Harris, who was the little girl in like Halloween 4 and 5, and like has been in lots of other stuff since. And what you call it? Taylor Scout Thompson, who was like Laurie Strode in the Rob Zombie Halloweens.
Oh yeah,
like they're just bezies, and they've like got their own podcast called Talk Scary to Me.
amazing.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and they just go on about like doing horror conventions and bring on people like Kane Hodder and go on about fucking feet pics and sex toys and shit.
I love that. Yeah, I think that needs to happen with the two big Jennifers in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk kills, because obviously this is a big one. Like, and we got a very broad church here. But like, are there any standout kills for you in the Child's Play Chucky franchise?
I would say in Curse of Chucky, I really like the way the priest dies. Like Chucky's like a bit like hands off on this one, because he just pops some rat killer in the priest's dinner. But then like you just see the priest gets into a massive car accident. And then the fireman like takes away the bit of the car that's like caved in, and his head just like falls off, which I love.
I think the one that like, I always think of, apart from the one that I've already mentioned, like in the first movie with the babysitter that just gets like thrown out of the building, like that's like one of the most iconic ones, right? And I think that one would like is the one that really stuck to me for a long time, and it's probably one that hasn't helped with like my fear of heights and stuff, where I'm like, I ain't going near no window just in case I trip over and fall out somehow. Like,
well, in all fairness, there's irrational phobias. I don't think heights is an irrational phobia.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Like, if you fall off a very high building, like, you know, it's not like that's the thing you shouldn't be worried about.
Definitely.
Even though we talk about this what's called it franchise being so high camp, which it is, and like having so many personal moments, which it does, you know, flipping, we've still got these really terrifying things. Like, I mean, like, I think the bit when Andy's mum is like sort of alone with the Chucky doll after they've taken Andy away, and she finds the batteries.
Oh yeah,
and leading up to the first time, like Chucky reacts in front of her. That is just a perfect horror set piece from beginning to end.
Yeah, 100%. Like that build up is just so good. Like we all know, and we're just waiting for that moment for it to click for her, where she's like, oh my god, like what is happening here? and it's also like, again, I mean, I don't know how scary it would have been watching it like in 88, like, but it's also like really funny, that bit. Like you've got that whole like tension build up of like any moment now she's going to realize and something's going to happen. But then as soon as he like turns around, you've just got this profanity coming out of his mouth, which is like also hilarious, because it's this little doll that's like, you know, you can just hold in your arms and like chuck away. But yeah, and it just feels like really bizarre to see this like little doll with this like filth coming out of his mouth, but then also like you've got the jump scare as well of like him being like, gotcha. Yeah, it's a great bit of cinema.
Yeah, like so incredibly acted, like, because there's that whole thing in it, like we talk about the whole thing, like, you know, it's not really gaslighting, it's just people not believing the people who know the truth. And like I mentioned earlier about like how like right at the start, you can see that she's a really good mum to Andy, who's like really struggling with hard times and like just wants to like provide the best for him. And there's all these things, and people are saying that his kid's gone nuts. That the kid that Andy is like doing these like twisted things. But like flipping in the back of her head, like because she loves him so much, she knows deep down it can't be him. Like, and she just wants something to make sense. So like when she sees those batteries and realizes that it was the doll the whole time, there's something in that, like it is the answer she's looking for, but the answer she's looking for is horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just like finds out that the monster in the cupboard that your kid's been telling you about is not only there, he's really pissed off with you and you're alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And somehow he weighs like the weight of a regular man like as well. It's like, and that is all kind of explained, but it is still hilarious just seeing like a fully grown woman with like a doll on her and she can't like get off of her. Like
they kind of like what should we call it? Like they finally kind of talk about it in like I think there's one episode of the what should we call it? The one episode in the first season of the series where they do kind of explain it where like someone's like struggling with it. They go, "How are you strong? You're like strong like a fully grown man." He's like, "I know, it doesn't make no sense."
yeah. Which is also great. Like they take the piss out of themselves as well, which I like.
Yeah.
I really love. Like they're not afraid to kind of be like, yeah, these like kind of little bits of mistakes that we made, like in our earlier movies, or like probably like plot holes or whatever. Now they can just like reference back to in the like later films and be like, yeah, that was silly, wasn't it? Like that was our bad.
Yeah, but they don't say that. They don't say it wasn't a mistake. This is how it is. It's some demon shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Voodoo up there. They're doing voodoo up there. Now there's millions of me. Also dolls, Jennifer Kelly, all these things. It's all related and it all makes sense. If you don't think it makes sense, demons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When in doubt, just blame the demon shit and it's fine. Like you can get away with it then.
Yeah. See, this is like going back to favorite films. Like I would say, like it, and like again, this goes back to I feel like a Bowie fan giving a shit answer here. But I would say my favorite film of the series is Child's Play 2.
Okay,
that's a good one. To be fair,
it is good.
The one I most, the one I'll most regularly watch is Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to be in a Bride of Chucky mood at any given time than I am Child's Play 2. But Child's Play 2 is one of the great unsung sequels, in my opinion, because like whenever someone's getting the like sequels that what should we call it sequels that really improve things, like Child's Play 2 never gets a shout, and it's normally because Bride of Chucky does get the shout.
That's true. Yeah, no, like I think I do. Yeah, I really enjoyed Child's Play 2 actually. That's the one like right at the end. They're in the factory, right? And there's that whole sequence is just so good. That like final, like let's say like quarter of that movie. Yeah, it is so well done.
Yeah, I'd actually say the sequence in the factory is like my favorite bit of any Child's Play movie. I really enjoy watching that. It's kind of one of those like satisfying. I don't know, factory scenes are often like quite satisfying, aren't they? But...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And when you see
in
him
a factory where they make the Chucky dolls, like
very
much sense of he could be anywhere, like
and that's it. Like when you see him like being absolutely torn apart at the end of that one, you're like, "There's no way he can't come back together now." Like, there's absolutely no way. But there's always an explanation of how they get put back together, which I also really enjoy as well with the movies. Like it's like, just someone found him and just put him together, or there's just some weird man that likes to like put dolls, find broken dolls and put them together. Like
I also find like it really gross when you have like the bodily, like really visceral, like actual human, like nerves and shit like under the
Within the
dolls.
doll, like,
It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
gross. For some reason, there's something about that specifically that really freaks me out and makes me feel a bit sick.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that like they sort of introduced in the first one. There's like 5 different looks of Chucky, and like it didn't really carry through because they just put him back together as another doll in the second one, and it kind of like rebooted the rules a bit. But like throughout the first one, he's like there's like different dolls that they use at different stages of the film. And they each look like more and more like slightly human, like the hairline's going a bit further back and all this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so clever. All those little bits that like you wouldn't pick up on the first watch you do, and then like the more you watch them and the more you probably read up about them as well, you notice all these different clever little bits that they did to, like you're saying, like to make him seem a bit more human as the movie goes on, as he's slowly becoming more human because of voodoo. And yeah, it's like it's just really well done. And the animatronics, especially like in the first one for its time, is so good as well. Like you watch it now and it's like it looks a little bit hammy, but still it looks so much better than it would have done if they did like
today the series, like there's no CGI Chucky. It's all puppets. It's all puppets, and they use the CGI to like get rid of like poles in the background and stuff, which you're not looking at. You know, it's taking away the things you're not focused on rather than the things you are, like, so you don't notice the CGI at all. And like the puppet team are just incredible in the new series, like you are. And it's because, and this goes back to what we were saying about it must just be Ace Vibes working on a Chucky film with Don Mancini, because like it's like the same crew that have been there since like Cult of Chucky when he did the first bit of directing. And like, you know, they just work with him and they've just got it nailed. Like I was reading stories like in the there's like quite a climactic scene like towards the end of the first season. I'm not doing spoilers. Climaxes come at the end of the season. But Chucky's like walking through this large area, giving this like sort of fuck you all speech, like this big monologue, and it's like a very long thing. And they just hit it in one take because like the 5 or 6 puppeteers or whatever, that like the one guy that's just facial expressions, there's one guy that's just legs, one guy that's just arms and all this. They're so used to working together as a team because they've been doing it for like years, just doing this one thing and like working with like Brad Dourif's voice and the exact mannerisms. They just nailed this really long sequence in like one take because it's just anything like, you know, it's like when, you know, people who are in a band and they live together and they just flipping nail all the improvisation together, like, because they're just that tight. There's that sense of family to it, like, and
yeah, definitely. And I'm so glad that they carried on with the kind of like puppet route as well, even with the TV series, because like it just like CGI, even now, it can just like it can date so quickly. Like like after a year or two, if they did CGI, I'd be like, well, that looks rubbish now. And that's how quickly it can change. But like puppetry will just like live on and always look pretty good. Like so I'm so glad that they went down that route because it just works so much better.
I kind of get the impression that like, you know, like no matter how CGI, no matter how good CGI got, and there is some incredible CGI that you don't see nowadays, like flipping like if you look at like the new Sex and the City, like the digital de-aging going on in every single shot, and it doesn't look like that. Like there's all these really subtle things that you don't know about because it just matches the level of like, you know, photo touch-ups that you get in a magazine. Yeah, but, you know, like you know, the Sex and the City women, they ain't looking like that nowadays. But you know, it's a 90s series. Like times have moved on. It's those things. But like you know, so like no matter how incredible CGI gets, it just does feel like Don Mancini goes like, nah, if I'm making Chucky, I'm keeping the crew together. Like I don't care how good your CGI is. I still want my guys to have work on this series. Like. You know, it's exactly why I like flipping like Devon Sauer. It was like he's a character in the first series. Like, and I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that he dies in the first series. I'm trying to avoid things for Rebecca, but like, as soon as he turns up, you know who Chucky is, and you know what kind of guy this is.
Yeah.
You know he's not
Yeah.
making season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like saying someone dies like in a Chucky movie probably isn't a spoiler. 'Cause I feel
Yeah,
like
like,
it would be more of a spoiler if you're like they didn't die.
Yeah.
But like Devon Sauer, he's like Chucky fam, he's Chucky crew, isn't it? So he's back in the second series as a completely different character and doing a really good job of playing a completely different character. And I think he like becomes another character before the episodes that I've hit at the end and anything like and I think that's just going to be another thing. Like they're just never going to acknowledge that like different people that look like Devon Sauer are just turning up.
Yeah. It's fun to have those little jokes as well, right? Like I'm sure it's just going to be some like fun thing that they're gonna like, yeah, why not come back and we'll kill you off again and like it'll be fine. Like, it'll be great.
It's Kenny in South Park, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that's also that's also testament to like what we were saying earlier. Like it must have just been so much fun to like work on those films if they are having the original teams coming back to like make all these like newer TV series and stuff. Like everyone must be like just like fuck yeah, I'm coming back. Like let's do this. Like I love this job. Like.
This is it, like flipping, like, you know, Don Mancini's been given full creative control, so he's like, yeah, we're bringing the boys back.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are your schedule?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're making another series. Let's
go. Don't worry, I got you covered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like we haven't even really touched on it, like in like how there's always been like like, you know, these sort of tones about, like, as I mentioned earlier, Don Mancini, he's a queer man and all this, and there's always been this kind of like subtext, and he was like the first to sort of like bring in like certain themes that and like now in this new series, like, you know, it focuses on like a high school kid and like a couple of his mates, and he's put a lot of his own personal experiences in there, like things he experienced as a kid, like, you know, growing up, you know, being discriminated against as a young gay kid, like his family aren't really accepting it and all that. And like, you know, apparently stuff like, you know, the lad having his first kiss and that, he said like, yeah, that's just like now we finally hit the time where I can like really truly tell the honest story of what it was like for me. And like that whole story of the first kiss and the build up and that's just straight out my life, because I can say it now and I can finally say these things.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like going from how coded things had to be in the late 80s and early 90s and how dressed up in humor they had to be in the 2000s, that we finally reached this point. It's just that alone makes me feel there's a bit of fucking good in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it must have been like so lovely for him to. It's a shame that it had to wait until like 2021 or 22 or whenever the series first came out. But it's great that he's been able to like do it and put it into his work and just be like, finally, after like 40 years, I can do this and kind of tell a story in a way that I actually want to tell the story, rather than like you're saying, it have to be like either coded or as part of a joke. So yeah, good on him being able to do that stuff and still, you know, still actually do it.
Yeah, and it's testament to his talent and how much he loves the series. Like, because like I don't like using the term woke because it's often like using like quite a negative way, and like normally like it is things like fucking they/them where I feel like it was like it's not coming from a really genuine place, and like, you know, it is done you know, to try and get the pink pound in, as it were, the pink dollar in this case. But you know, there's no accusations about too woke or trying to force things on the audience with Chucky, and like a lot of other series would get that criticism, and because like the Child's Play Chucky franchise has just like been with it so long and even able to just like come to it just like you did, Rebecca, and and like just see this evolution as we pass through the eras. You know, it's got this commitment that like we're all there, and like as much as like they must love working and making these things all together, like we love seeing what they've created just as much. And I think like, you know, the power of that is something that's like really fucking means something, and we can see in real terms, like, you know, they're doing these things fucking matters. It's really
good. Yeah, it is great to see. It's nice that they've, like I was saying, like they can do it, and it not be. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be people online that are going to be like, "Oh, putting this in just because it's like popular," and it's like popular at the moment.
But
then it's like.
It's the same people that like. Did you see the whole Pink Floyd thing on?
Oh yeah, ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Like, fucking like the people who were saying that about Chucky, the thing about same thing about the Pink Floyd thing. They ain't Pink Floyd fans. Like they just saw a rainbow and just thought they had to kick off about it and act like they were really big in. I was into Pink Floyd. Like, well,
were you? I don't think you were. But it's also like, if you are going to be kicking off about it, you clearly haven't watched any of the other Chucky movies, like, or not really watched them properly.
Exactly.
How can you kick off about it? Like,
that's who it is. It's the people looking for anything to kick off about. It's fucking like fucking Ben Shapiro getting surprised because a mystery film has a twist in it. It's them ones. It's like, it's the professional dick splashes.
That's a perfect way to describe them.
Yeah, so now we've established that those people are wankers, don't mean anything. Fuck their opinion. And like, you know, we've come to this place. I think that's a good place to wrap up here. So before we do, obviously, on your favorite audio podcast platform, make sure you are subscribed to Drunken Horror. I understand that you're going to be looking into doing a bit of the streaming horror games thing and all.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, well, we're hoping to launch a Patreon in March because that's when we hit our 1-year anniversary. And I think along with that, we're going to try and do a bit of a Twitching and stream some horror games. We're just going to try and find some games that we can all play, the three of us together. So I think, Rebecca, you suggested the Friday the 13th game.
Yeah, that would be really fun together. And it's even more fun because I'm so bad at video games because my dyspraxia means my hand-eye coordination is terrible.
I'm dyspraxic and all. Like, I suck at video games. Like, I'm just good at swearing at screens. Like, so I might be able to,
exactly.
How bad I am with personality. Hey, I'll tell you what, though. Like, you mentioned something like the Friday the 13th. The Texas Chainsaw one's coming out, isn't it?
Ooh, I didn't know about this.
Okay,
and
there we go.
The Texas Chainsaw one is like it's like, because Friday the 13th is like 1 verse 5 or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it's like a 3 or 4 verse 3 verse 4, like family versus like interlopers with the Texas Chainsaw one, and it's cross-platform, so you can play it on like whatever you got.
Yeah.
So,
that's
I don't know, maybe we'll see where we are, because I think it's like it doesn't come out for a couple of months, but maybe like I get a couple of Team KSC up here. You know, flipping, you get the Drunken Horror thing, and maybe we could have a little bit of a team match.
Definitely, that sounds great. That sounds loads of
fun. I think that'd be like a fun, entertaining thing. We'll do what you call it, Drunken Horror versus KSC, like.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's fair because we got 2 dyspraxics, so
yeah.
I only know idiots. So it's one of them. Well, anyway, we ain't getting any professional gamers. But yeah, I thought, so like I say, twitch.tv/Kinell. If you want to see me like swearing at the screen when the new Dead Space remake drops at 4 p.m. on Friday the 27th. Really, I'm doing it because I'm too thick to do film reviews, and I can't justify buying these flipping games and spending all my time playing them unless I'm doing something. But I know I can't play computer games well, but I think I can what you call it, sort of keep a stream entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. That's a skill in itself.
completely derailed things already. Like at that point, I was just going, so yes, follow Drunken Horror. Follow Drunken Horror. They got a Patreon dropping soon. You'll be, no doubt that's going to be like entertaining as fuck. I will be subscribing to that. So subscribe to my Patreon, because literally all my Patreon earnings go straight to other people's Patreons. Flipping like
that's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Please subscribe.
I think 1 month I took £2 of profit, but I supported a lot of other creators, like, so
nice.
it all stays in the community, like. So yeah, so other than Drunken Horror, is there anything you'd like to promote? Any socials, anything you'd like people to get eyes on?
No, not really. I mean, if you want to follow us on our Instagram and Twitter, we're at Drunken Horror. I think through there you'll be able to find me and Rebecca on Twitter, and also on Instagram. We're all on Instagram, so you'll be able to find us there. It's mainly just like life shit that gets posted, but if you're interested in what's going on in our lives that's not really horror related, follow us on there. We've got some really good guests coming up with our podcast, and I'm sure we'll be chatting about some good movies. So keep your eyes peeled.
Cool. And yourself, Rebecca, or anything?
Yeah, I can't currently remember any of my handles off the top of my head, so find me through the Drunken Horror socials.
Yeah, Little Ginger Mess on Twitter, isn't it?
Hey, thank you. Probably.
There you go. That's all right. I added you today, so.
So I'll be following you directly after this. And for myself, all the things I shouted out at the start, check out Adventure Rhyme on Don't Flop. Watch I did a rap battle whilst getting a tattoo. Twitch.tv/Kinell. UKBR Daily is now Battle Rap Daily. You can so you can see all the things from our King of the Smokers event and me becoming the shot battle champion. And literally, as we speak, has sent me a picture of him editing something, and it looks like he's about to put out a blog of me trying to get home after the shots battle. So
oh no,
that'll be hitting Don't Flop, and I don't want to see what it's like. But you should, because it's entertaining. But yeah, you know all them. You know the socials. You know what it is. Big up for listening. Support our guests. Support the community. I'm Kinell. I'm going to fanny around looking for the record button, because my mouse always dies at this point. And then I'm going to press the end record button. KSC, Kinell Sinister Cinema, safe.